I just heard the best Rush Limbaugh episode I've ever heard before. Rush Limbaugh, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Rush Limbaugh. I know that Rush Limbaugh, in the eyes, views of some, has been a controversial figure in the past, but shit, so have I. I mean, who hasn't fucking been? Who's on the air, who's in radio, who podcast, broadcast, vlogcast, who's fucking broadcasting anything? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. There's always someone out there to scrutinize, to criticize, to critique, to ridicule. There's always someone saying some shit about someone else, right? So, Rush Limbaugh, people who are critics still say whatever. I'm a huge fan of Rush Limbaugh. Fuck critics. Critics suck dicks. I mean, it's one thing to critique. It's another thing to ridicule. But whatever, you know? Whatever. People have their opinions, you know? Good for them. I'm a fan of Rush Limbaugh. I like everything that he's done, everything that he's heard. I've read his books. And what some people who are stupid and ignorant don't know is that Rush Limbaugh is a great writer in addition to being a great orator. It's just like Mark Levin. He's a great writer as well, in addition to being a great orator. I listen to Ben Shapiro. He's a young guy, you know what I'm saying, who knows a lot about the world. Just like I listen to Chris Plant and Larry O'Connor. I listen to conservative talk. And thing about Rush, man, is this episode of his that I heard today, and I have to timestamp this, man. 7 August 2019, just before 1 p.m. out here on the East Coast. I wish that what I just heard from Rush Limbaugh could be played throughout the land. Now, I know that it is on the radio, but I wish that, similar to a presidential address, I wish this is something that could have been, it could have been expressed at like a State of the Union address. Like it's the president, but Rush Limbaugh standing right there, because I want to give Rush 100% credit for what he said. So what I was thinking was, if Donald Trump said exactly what Rush Limbaugh just said, like if Rush said, Donald Trump, I wrote this, you know, you can say this because you're the president, and you can say that it's your own, and I'll be a ghostwriter, or you can give me credit. It's whatever you want to do, right? If it would have been broadcast to everyone, like on that level, on a mass level. Now, I understand EIB network, it's broad, it goes out, it's global, it's satellite, it is broadcast to the masses, to millions of people. But if it were something that were like, say, on TV at that presidential, like, address level, where that many people are seeing it, man, Rush Limbaugh broke it down. And you know how many Democrats and liberals would actually have a paradigm shift and become conservative after hearing what he said? So I'm going to paraphrase it. One Sir Grove, I'm the host of Casting 495 Celebrities Worldwide. I give credit where it's due. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a true fan, we 495, we most certainly appreciate you if you're true and genuine. So look, Rush Limbaugh broke it the fuck down. He's talking about the Democrat Party and how it's the party of slavery. This is my interpretation of what I just heard. I was a college honor student, 4.0 in college English honors on my academic, scholarly, permanent transcript background. So, and I also taught English, math, and science in a Korean private school for 10 years. Yes, you've heard me say that if you've heard this show before. The point is, I also work in government as a civilian technical expert, defense contractor. I've worked at many different agencies as a contractor, and I've been paid dearly and handsomely for the work that I do. So I'm obviously a rational, competent, professional operator, and I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I was a whiz kid. I was young prodigy, and yeah, man, I fucked around in the streets, did gang shit or whatever, but I went back to school, got my college honors, proved to the world that I could fucking do it, and here's my interpretation of what Rush Limbaugh said. I'm going to paraphrase it and summarize it, obviously, because I'm citing his work. Rush Limbaugh said it so eloquently, so perfectly, so terrifically to the absolute point. So this is what he says, basically, as summarized by moi, yours truly, one Sir Growth, if in fact you're a true fan. So this is what he says, man. Rush Limbaugh says, basically, that the Democrat Party is fucking fraud, which I agree with him 100%. And I'll just let you know, I agree with every single iota of everything he just stated. This is so profound, what he said. It stands out in such a way. It is indelible in my mind now, imprinted forever. On 7 August 2019, this is a Wednesday. This is 1:13 p.m. atomic clock time. And so this needs to be ingrained in the minds of those who actually give a fuck. He basically said, okay, look, here's the deal. We've been talking forever. This is a different level of what has been discussed. Let me just put it all into perspective for you. And again, these are not quotes. This is my summary of what he said. These are my words in relation to Rush Limbaugh's words. He said the Democrat Party is fucking fraud. And it points its fingers at Republicans and says that Republicans are racist and that Republicans are basically white, Caucasian, which is completely, absolutely fallacious. I mean, it is true in that there are Caucasian and black, brown, African Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, you name it, Asian Americans, Hispanics, whatever, however you define those groups, those folks, that is the Republican Party. It's not just white Caucasian. It never fucking has been. Martin Luther King was conservative, was Republican. And Democrats hate to fucking hear that. And even I've seen and heard that Martin Luther King's family members, some of them, they eschew that whole notion. Oh, well, but the real... No, he was fucking Republican conservative. He was a conservative. He was Republican. He may have had some different views at different times, but he was nonetheless Republican conservative. I've seen the data. I've seen the history. I know what's fucking true and what's not. Dems, liberals, they don't want you to know that. Some Dems, liberals don't even fucking know that. They just assume that because he's black African American or brown or black or whatever people say people are, they just assume, oh, he's a black man in America, so that at that time, that automatically makes him liberal. Because that's how ignorant they are. So the Liberal Party, as Rush was saying, the so-called Liberal Party, it's the complete and total opposite of what it perpetrates to be. What it puts on a front to be. And I know this to be true as well. I've always known this. But the way that he elucidated this information, the way that he shined a light on this, has shown a light on the subject, it really put it into a different, crystal clear perspective. I mean, I've always known this as a mixed minority, but the way that it was spoken today, his remarks, his comments, his statements, the way that it was expressed and conveyed today was so impactful that people need to hear it around the world. It needs to be rebroadcast. It needs to be broadcast throughout civilization, to the underprivileged, to the poverty-stricken communities. Some call them ghettos, neighborhoods that are underrepresented, to the less fortunate, those who are impoverished. Rush Limbaugh's words were statements of fact. The Democrat Party does nothing for poor folks. Nothing. Not really. It really doesn't ever empower poor folks. The less fortunate. Ghettos. Impoverished neighborhoods. The Democrat Party does nothing to help economically advance folks who are with little to nothing.
It's a fucking sham that was created by the KKK. Now, Republican conservatives who are of, quote, color, like I am, because I'm brown, mixed, whatever you want to call me. The fact is, we know this, we've known this, but the way that Rush stated it, it is irrefutable. Especially given that the Democrat Party has lost its grip on America, lost its grip on power in America, rather. It doesn't have the pull, the clout, the strength that it did. People are already losing faith. Democrats have already lost faith in the Democrat Party, and that's why the Democrat Party doesn't really exist anymore anyway, technically. The Democrat Party is more of an afterthought. The Democrat Party, yes, it exists in remnants, but it's wrecked, it's in ruin, it's devastated, it's been pulverized, demolished, and smashed to smithereens. Its reincarnation, its new incarnation, as it metamorphosized, as it transformed, is now the Socialist, Marxist, Communist Party. Those parties always existed, but those parties, the Socialist, Communist, Marxist parties in no particular order, because they're all fucking communist. They're all socialists, they're all Marxists, it's all the same shit, just masquerading as individual different entities, but it's all just a communist, Marxist, socialist, fucking fascistic, as Mark Levin says, construct. Because they are the true fascists. They're the fascists pretending to be the non-fascist. They are the ones that the Dems living in, or the socialists or Marxists or communists, liberals as they believe themselves to be, they are the ones that the Dems, the liberals, the left look to for resources, strength, solidarity, and reconciliation. Basically, energy to synergize, to stay alive, to subside, to subsist, to be alive, and for furtherance, betterment of communities. It's all just a fucking fraud, however. It's like the Outer Limits. These people are fighting each other, and at the end they find out that the one race is a totally different thing. Who you think are the bad guys are actually the good guys. And who you think are the good guys are actually the bad guys. The fucking left is bad. It just is. Like, plain and simple. Malcolm X knew that shit. They all do. Deep down inside. And I'm talking about those who come from neighborhoods that are underrepresented, that are impoverished. Deep down inside, poor folks, they know that there's something amiss, something is wrong. The human brain says, okay, well, we keep supporting, being proponents of, voting for, and representing this party, but we're still here in this ghetto. We're still here in this basically prison. Outside the prison system, but it's still a prison. Economically, financially, politically speaking. Are their voices heard? No, not really. Do they have money to move forward? A lot of times, no, not really. Most of the time, no. That's why they still live in poverty-stricken communities. We can use as many euphemisms as humanly conceivably possible. Nonetheless, you have rappers, urban musical artists, others in media. They use the word ghetto. Because ghetto, though it's a powerful and strong and often derogatory word, nonetheless, it's come to be socially acceptable in different spheres. It's come to be socially acceptable in different spheres of society. The point is that when you look at the ghetto, when you consider and contemplate the ghetto, people in the ghetto who believe that the Democrat Party is their party, they're beginning to wake up and realize that the whole thing is a setup, and it has been since the very beginning of its inception. When they go back, they look at the books, they look at the record of history, the record of time, the annals of time, chronicles of time, they realize that it is the party of slavery. And that the Republican Party is the party that freed the slaves. Now, not everyone wanted to be freed. Not everyone wanted to participate in capitalism. And so, largely, chiefly, for a time, it was white Caucasian who represented the Republican Party. But it has not always been just white Caucasians. In fact, increasingly, that is not the case. There are a lot of blacks, black African Americans, people of color, Asian Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, and Latin Americans, whatever people call themselves, browns, different ethnic groups who represent the Republican Party, Conservative Party. And so that is undeniable. It's irrefutable. Absolutely fucking irrefutable. So now that the Dems don't have the stronghold that they used to have, we might even use the expression stranglehold. Dems don't have fucking power anymore the way that they used to. Hillary Clinton is done politically. The Clintons are fucking over and out politically. So this message is getting out more and more to those who have historically thought of themselves, believed themselves to be, have represented themselves as liberal, being on the left, Democrats. They realize that they've been taken advantage of and that people like Hillary Clinton were absolutely the racists. They know the truth now, and the truth is coming out more and more every day. And Rush is right. He's 100% correct. The Dems, party of the KKK, created to trick those who are less fortunate into believing that it's the party of freedom. And they are the absolute maximum racists in society and always have been.